Do lesbians and gays wear their sexuality on their sleeve? That's a question I want to address today in this video. And I titled the video, Do Lesbians and Gays Wear Their Sexuality on Their Sleeve? I never looked at lesbian and gay people or same-sex attracted people as being over the top or flamboyant or considered show-offs when it comes to their sexual orientation. However, I would hear people who are heterosexual often criticize same-sex attracted people who identify as lesbian or gay or bisexual as being too obvious about their sexuality. And I found it very contradictory because, for one, we live in a hypersexualized society, and it's not gay and lesbian people who are in the media or on social media or on the radio or in everyday society who are expressing their sexuality with ease and freely and often as heterosexual people do. Heterosexual people will often say about homosexual people, you're forcing your sexuality on us. Who is the us? I guess obviously them, they who identify as heterosexual. They think, heterosexual people think that homosexual people or gay or lesbian or bisexual people are always forcing their sexuality upon heterosexual people. But why are they saying such statements? I only hear this from heterosexual people, or you hear it from people who are in denial about being gay, lesbian, or bisexual. Usually these people identify as ex-gay or ex-lesbian or ex-homosexual, and or they identify as being on the down low. So being on the down low means that you have romantic and sexual relationships openly with a person of the opposite sex. However, you secretly engage in sexual encounters with the same sex. But because of self-hatred, they often criticize gay, lesbian, and bisexual or same-sex attracted people who are openly free in stating that they are gay, lesbian, or bisexual. And I wanted to address this because the irony and the contradiction in these statements that gay, lesbian, bisexual, or same-sex attracted people wear their sexuality on their sleeve needs to be addressed, because the truth is, if you identify as homosexual or bisexual or same-sex attracted, we experienced much oppression by being ourselves. And the reason why is because we live in a society that is very antagonistic towards sexual orientations that are not heterosexual. they consider anyone who falls outside of the category of being heterosexual as a sexual deviant. And they oppose homosexuality. They oppose what they deem as the homosexual lifestyle as being inappropriate or unnatural. However, they pedestalize sexuality between opposite genders, meaning if you are a male and a female who are involved in a relationship romantically and or sexually, this is praised. And we live in a very hypersexuality society. You can turn on the radio, if anyone still listens to the radio, and I do every once in a while. The radio allows you to hear more than just music. You have morning shows, you have evening shows, you have news and weather, and also advertisement. It just kind of gives you a diversity of what's going on in your local area, as well as, maybe statewide or national or global information. And you can get a diversity of different type of music depending on the channels that you like to tune into. But when you listen to the music, you don't hear gay, lesbian people on the radio. You hear heterosexual people on the radio. They're talking about their romantic and sexual encounters with the opposite sex. When you listen to the morning shows or the evening shows, I remember, they don't do this anymore, but in the 1990s, you could call in and request a song for your boyfriend or your girlfriend or the person you had a crush on. And the radio DJ would say, "What's your name?" And the person who called in, he would say, "My name is Dave, and I want you to play this love song for Stacy, who is my girlfriend." And the DJ would spin the record, and people enjoyed hearing all of the people call in to the late night show and give their shout outs to the love of their life while they played the love songs. And the love songs always was about heterosexual relationships. So when heterosexual people say that homosexual people or bisexual people wear their sexuality on their sleeve, they say it in a way as if it's a problem. But yet the heterosexual people, wear their sexuality on their sleeve all the time. I was having a conversation with someone, and it was a heterosexual guy. He asked, "Why do gay people always have to let us know that they're gay?" That was his question. And that's not the first time I've heard this question from a heterosexual person. And I told him, people often ignore or overlook other people who exist in this world. They assume that you're heterosexual, but everybody is not heterosexual. And when you assume a person is heterosexual and you place them in that category, that is not accurate, nor is it appropriate or fair to the person who is not heterosexual. That person has an identity, and your sexual orientation is your identity. And for anyone who denies me saying that your sexual orientation is your identity is actually very partial and biased to their own sexual orientation as being a heterosexual, because heterosexual people are the only people that I ever hear say your sexual orientation is not your identity, because I make that statement often. And in the same manner, if a person who is heterosexual is asked, do you identify as heterosexual? Their answer would be yes. So why is it that when a heterosexual person is asked, do you identify as heterosexual, they say yes, and their sexual orientation is identified as heterosexual? But on the flip side, if a homosexual person is asked the same question, do you identify as a homosexual, and they say yes, then all of a sudden being a homosexual is not an identity. Do you see the bias? Do you see the contradiction? Do you see the discrimination? It is clear that homosexual or bisexual people are discriminated against according to their sexual orientation. And to basically go back to the question that this heterosexual guy asked me, he said, why do gay people always feel like they need to tell us that they're gay? Because we live in a heteronormative society that is programmed to believe and assume that everybody is heterosexual by default, which is not accurate. And we, as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or you may identify as pansexual or demisexual or asexual, there are various sexual orientations. There's not just one sexual orientation. And we should have the freedom to state who we are and to express ourselves through our lives. Saying that you are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or however you identify does not mean that you are being overtly sexual. I'll repeat that. Stating that you're lesbian, gay, bisexual, or whatever sexual orientation that you identify as does not mean that you are being overtly sexual. You are saying who you are. Heterosexual people have an issue with lesbian, gay, bisexual, and LGBTQ plus people being themselves. Bottom line. They hate to see us be ourselves. They hate to see us love ourselves. They hate to see us identify ourselves. And that's why it's so important for you to continue to identify yourself and to say who you are. Because people want to steal your identity. They want to erase your identity. Hence, lesbian erasure and gay erasure and bisexual erasure. These are real issues in a heteronormative society. And to answer the question, do gays and lesbians wear their sexuality on their sleeve? The answer depends on the person's perspective. Because many heterosexual people over-sexualize everything. They can be very obsessed with sex. They are hypersexualized. They are the ones that talk about sex all the time. They are the ones who want to know, who are you dating? Who are you sleeping with? They ask these questions. I've been asked this question all the time by heterosexual people. But yet they say that homosexual people or bisexual people are the ones who are forcing their sexuality on people. Heterosexual people take advantage of being heterosexual, And that's called heterosexual privilege. I actually have a short on my YouTube channel about heterosexual privilege. And they take an issue with other sexual orientations, or what is called minority sexual orientations. They like to ignore us. They like to overlook us. They like to erase us. And they like to discriminate against us. And I did actually answer the heterosexual guy when he asked, why do gay people always feel like they have to tell us that they're gay? I basically said, well, heterosexual people tell us all the time that they're heterosexual. And they do. Oh, I'm straight. Oh, I am a heterosexual man. Oh, I'm straight. I'm a straight girl. I am a heterosexual woman. Oh, I love men. I'm a woman and I love men. Oh, I'm a man and I love women. They tell us, heterosexual people tell us all the time that they're heterosexual. They flaunt their heterosexuality all the time. And guess what? I don't take an issue with it. I don't get offended when they do. But heterosexual people take an issue with me saying that I'm a lesbian. Heterosexual people get offended when I say I'm a lesbian. Now you tell me, is that prejudice? Is that being biased? Is that being homophobic? Yes, it is. We should always be able to express ourselves without being judged, without fear of being attacked, without being concerned about being ostracized or discriminated against by the majority sexual orientation, which is heterosexuality. I love when lesbian, gay, bisexual, and LGBTQ people say who they are. Because everybody needs a little reminder that the world does not revolve around you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share this video. Thank you for listening. My name is Giselle Wallace. Have a good day.